All right, so here we are. Interview, Trin+Jake. Very happy to be talking to these guys. We've talked many times before, but it's always a pleasure. Um, I know it's kind of corny to start a cardistry interview with how you got into cardistry, but you guys have, if I remember correctly, you guys have interesting stories of how you got into cards. Because you guys skipped magic, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You go
Um,
first.
yeah, for me, um, I was I there's some interest in magic. I but I never learned any sleights or anything. I did collect I had like a ton of bikes just like laying around my room. And I thought like the self-fortune tricks were cool, but I never learned any sleights or anything. Um, and this was back in 2017. I was like around 12. One of my friends showed me the the Kuma Film Zach video. Um,
Which one?
the first one. Um, like the
The
first one that he did.
the one where it's like the singing dance, the song dance, or whatever.
Yeah.
The
Wait,
that
is that
music.
what? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was I thought it was so lame. Uh, um, yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, okay. And it took another friend trying to introduce me to it again, like later that summer, for me to um be interested and get hooked on trying to learn stuff. Um, but yeah, I pretty much skipped magic, which I think is not really conventional.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, go. First of all, I remember someone commenting on his post. It's like one of his classmates, and it's like, I can't believe this all started from a joke. And then you responded like,
Oh
the
yeah,
the 7 year long joke.
Yeah, because
I saw that comment.
No, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I saw that
it
comment.
very much was a joke for a while. Because he was just like that was the dude who showed it to me like originally, and he was mocking me for getting into it, not because of him, but because another friend had gotten me into it later on. Um, but yeah, it was quite the joke for a while. Not sure if it's still a joke.
yeah. No, it's probably not a joke 8 years in.
But you
Um,
were but you were doing it as a joke. You weren't taking it seriously at first.
Um, yeah, I'd say I wasn't taking it completely seriously. There was some interest there, but I think that developed later, like down the line.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no. For me, it was pretty similar. At first, like I just saw like tutorials, right? Because I was like, oh, I want to search up magic tutorials on YouTube to learn magic, and I was
Okay.
really bad at it. And then I saw a School of Cardistry tutorial on like Flutter, I think. I don't know how to do it, but um, I was
Flutter.
I was like hooked. It was some single card twirl move, which is really ironic because my style is a lot of single cards now.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I saw that, and then I also tried to learn Charlier, and I couldn't do it because my hands were just like insanely small, and so I just quit for like 6 months, and then I got back into it. And this
Wow.
is around the same time, like 2017, and that's when I saw like Fontaine Fan, and I saw Get Paper by anyone,
Yeah.
and those two videos like sort of showed me like, oh, it's actually cool. Like it's really cool. It's not just like tutorials and people learning. It's like people making cool videos and like dope moves. Like
Mm.
seeing Noel like do all the crazy shit in Fontaine Town.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like I kind of had a similar experience watching, in particular, anyone videos for the first time, where I didn't realize it could actually be that cool.
No, yeah, exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
something I think, even nowadays, I think is interesting to think about. Like, I think we kind of undervalue how important being cool as a artist is a little bit.
No,
Like,
exactly. I think we were talking about this the other day. Like, cardistry informs so much of like your artistic taste. And like you end up just like growing with it. Like your taste just becomes so much better just inherently by being a cardist. And it's not even
yeah,
just like taste in like cardistry, but like taste in just like life and like cool shit in general. Like it's so sick.
yeah, 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 absolutely. I think like probably you guys would agree that so much of the music and clothes and like movies I watch, so much of it, even now, if I go, trace it to the source, I got it from Cardistry or a cardist, another cardist.
And I think that's
Exactly.
also, I think that's also because of how like early on we picked it up. Supposed to like, I know some other people started later down the road, but for us, it was all when we were really young and we didn't really have a sense of like taste or like style yet, and so that just
Yeah,
like that played such a huge role in how like formative it was for us.
For sure. For sure.
yeah, yeah. At that age, you're like still figuring all that who you are and stuff.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So I hope you guys don't mind talking about Trin, the Fontaine Trials, and Jake, your experience with Syndicate, because I feel like both of those. Well, obviously, Syndicate, we didn't know you were gonna be part of it. We didn't know that was coming. And
Dude,
then
I
you
didn't
had,
even know it was coming. It was
oh, you,
crazy. Yeah.
but wait, actually, this is another question I wanted to ask you. Just reminded me. There was a video that you made on Trin's channel, the rehearsal.
Yeah.
Did you know, was that like a foreshadow for Syndicate or no?
Um, was it? Wait, did I learn?
No,
No.
we have to say it was because then it's like
Yeah,
we have to play it
exactly.
off like it was.
Okay. Well,
Wow, that's crazy. I really thought it was.
the main story behind rehearsal was that I got into college in Boston, and I was like, Trent, I'm coming to Boston, and I had to do a visit. And during the visit, like Trin was probably the only person I knew coming into Boston. So we just like met up and jammed and just like we're just like, oh fuck it, let's film. And then I got a bunch of clips and then we just ended up making a video. But
But
yeah.
why'd you call it the rehearsal if you didn't know? Was there another reason?
It was like rehearsal for like me being in Boston maybe and like filming more
I
videos
think
there.
you knew to do a video.
Maybe I knew I was gonna do a
I think
video.
you knew you were gonna do a video,
When was it?
and like it was May.
Oh
It
wait,
was
no,
May of that
no,
year.
okay, no, I definitely
So
knew I was gonna
you,
do Syndicate then by that time.
I think you knew you were gonna do a video, but you didn't know it was gonna be.
Okay.
And I think later in the month.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that
crazy.
makes. But I wanted to ask because both, like, I feel like both of your guys' first, I don't know, breakouts with Fontaine were so unexpected. Would you agree? Like, I feel like at the con when Syndicate came out, everyone was pretty floored by that, and no one saw it coming. And same with the 2021 or 2020 trials was like that was the first year you entered or 2021.
I did 2021, and then 2022. So
Okay,
2020.
okay. But
Yeah.
it was the same thing where I feel like you guys kind of both broke out in a similar way, very unexpected kind of breakout. What was your experience like with the trials in that first year, Trent?
Um, I had, well, like since I started, I knew I wanted to do a competition. Just because like CCC was like the shit back then, and like
Mm.
you just like I don't know, like seeing all those videos like come out was like pretty inspiring, and so I knew from the get-go I wanted to do a competition. I thought I was gonna do CCC in 2020, but that never happened, of course. And I had filmed like an audition video for it, that never went up. And then um, the trials was also that year, and so I wasn't sure if I had liked the format, but I knew I wanted to watch, and it turned out to be really entertaining. Um, so then I was like, I kind of had it in the back of my mind, but I didn't make the decision until I'd say midway through like the entry period for 2021. Um, I kind of just said, uh, okay, let's just do this. Um, I had, I knew I'd have to be making stuff on the fly because I think I had maybe like 5 moves, um, to begin with and like a couple of ideas. So I knew it was going to be hard, but um, every round was just kind of me winging it.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I'm not sure
And
if people know that, but that's super insane.
Both years.
Yeah, both years.
2 years in a row.
um, yeah, and both years I wasn't like I had made the decision very very late um, for like both years. Just because I don't know, I feel like maybe it's reflective of me as a person, or also in some ways. But yeah, it was just like my thought process was um, I would do as much as I could, and at one point, um, it became feasible to be flown out, and so I was like, I
Mm.
at least have to at least have to be flown out
Yeah,
if I made it this far. So
that's how we met actually.
and yeah, that's
Trin
how
and
we
I
met for
met
the first time.
because Zach flew him out to LA.
Oh, really?
So,
Right, because
and
you lived in LA before Boston.
exactly, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So he went up to meet with Kaleo, right? And
Yeah.
then Kaleo also invited me over to his place. And the video might be taken down now, but we actually ended up filming like a little video with Kaleo, and we ended up just like really vibing. So we kept in
Mm.
touch.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, no,
That's
that was
cool. I
like,
didn't. I didn't know you guys went that far back.
no,
Do you
yeah.
ever? Do you ever look back at those videos, Trin? The trials
Uh,
videos?
I try not to.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be wrong, like, it wouldn't feel right for me to still be happy with those, because I feel like, um, it's inevitable that, um, when things like that happen so early on in your career, or your cardistry career, that, like, you're gonna go through a lot of change, and I think, um, everything since then has kind of been growth for me and like change. So yeah, I I look back on it and kind of go easy on myself to like you didn't know any better.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like even from round one to round two, or from year one to year two, there was a big change in style.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so. I was very. I was such a packet cut purist. Um,
Yeah.
like I'd say like in 2021, and that slowly went away throughout like the first trials run I did, and then by the second one that was gone.
Yeah.
There's very little hack cutting happening. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I feel like some of the stuff that you were doing in 2021, some of the grips and mechanics to me felt like they didn't want to be packet cuts, but they were in packet cuts. And then when in 2022, it was just like you kind of broke the chains off of packet cutting in a way.
that's fair. Yeah, I think um I think something about the way I have always been thinking when it comes to like creating moves, like ever since like I started cardistry, has kind of led me to more like more idea moves. Um, just because I just feel like I had a lot of those ideas were like kind of sitting in the back of my head, even though they weren't like full moves, or they hadn't been like shown or like really even done in my hands. I had the ideas like floating in the back of my head since I had started.
Right. And then Jake, what was your experience prepping for Syndicate?
Yeah, it was pretty wild actually. So this is actually a good segue because I think that it really started when I tried to do, what is it, 2022 trials. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, and I got eliminated round one at San Diego Con. And then also at San Diego Con, like you kind of realize like how good people actually are. You know, it was my first con, and like you meet everybody in person. It's like fucking crazy. Um, and like I feel like at that point, because I got eliminated, I was like sad, and I also realized how much better everybody was. I was like, okay, I either stop doing this or like I go as hard as possible for like a 6 month period and see what I can do. So I just chose the latter, and right after that, I just created like a ton of moves, like so many moves. And then originally, I was actually gonna do the Fontaine 5000's part one video, I think, with
Mm.
like Adam and
Oh
Vin.
yeah. Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But that just didn't end up working out.
You were gonna be a
But
part of that, or it was gonna be Syndicate was gonna be that. Like
I
that
think
was
I
gonna
was
be.
just gonna be a part of it. Like I just
Okay.
like I think Zach knew that I had moves saved, and he was like, "Oh, we should do something." But it just like I was busy because it was like my senior year. Um, but yeah, no, then it was like I just kind of had these moves, and it was like my senior year of high school, so I was like really busy all the time and like doing all this shit. So it was like, okay, like maybe I'll get like an opportunity for a video, you know? And it was like during graduation practice that I get a DM from Leo, and he was like, "Hey, are you doing anything for the con?" And I was like, "No." And he sends me, and he doesn't even like give me any context. He just sends me the picture of the deck, and it
Mm.
has the Fontaine logo on it. And I'm like, "Wait, is this a collab?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Holy shit." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have Kyle come out and film you." And like immediately, like, oh my God. Yeah. So like it was so crazy. The
That's so
experience of
sick.
like, yeah, no, it was insane. It still feels like really surreal. It felt honestly because like I graduated and then I had a Fontaine video, and like it was
Right.
like such a weird but also awesome period of my life. And also filming
Yeah.
with Kyle was crazy as well. It was really cool.
And
But
also the what?
filming with Kyle as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think
The
yeah,
goat.
it just felt surreal. The prep was the prep felt like I definitely like my work paid off. Like I put in like a ton of different moves. We had to like sort of boil them down to like the best ones and then just like put them out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did Leo know you had moves saved, or how did he know to reach out to you?
I think you told him at some point, like you kind of like put the seed in like Leo's mind, right?
I think I had talked to him about um like people that I knew that had moves a couple times, and I had told him about Jake a couple times, but I'm not sure if that was like the direct
Yeah.
result.
Okay.
Oh, because I forgot. Also during that period, I was like because I got like no, I didn't because I didn't get the 5000s video and I had these moves saved. I was like, I'm just gonna start releasing edits like every 2 weeks slash monthly. And that was when I just started putting out like a ton of edits and just tried to get better at being in front of the camera.
Mm.
And, I think that also helped sort of get my name out there before the video.
So it sounds like for you, kind of like a rejection or a disappointment motivated you to be a better cardist.
More or less, I feel
Yeah.
like I was just like, I just kind of realized at that point, like, I should just be doing this for like myself and then just seeing what happens rather than like trying to do it for like winning a competition or something.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I relate to that. I remember the first time it was at the second Goodco event that Fontaine did in New York. That was like my first time meeting like a lot of cardists at once
Hmm.
since I had gotten serious about cardistry. And I remember just feeling like after that event, I was so happy to have met all these people, but I was like, these people are so much better than me, and these people probably hate me because I'm so bad at cards. Like, it's just like I'm not even close to these guys. It was like, uh, Carter and James were there, and I was like, I'm literally not even close to these people. Um, but then after that, I got super hyped on cards.
No,
Like,
exactly.
so maybe sometimes that's just what it takes.
It does. So,
Yeah. So you mentioned that you guys obviously you're together in Boston. What is the Boston cardistry scene like? It's kind of I hear about it in New York, but I've only visited once.
Um,
Are you still jamming?
we do jams once a month. It's a decent group of people that show up. I'd say it averages around like 6 or 7 a month.
Okay.
Um, we get more for like the bigger events, and every so often we get like newcomers So I think it's yeah, it's pretty healthy right now, I'd say. Um,
We were also talking about this the other day, though. Because Boston is so small, we believe that the Boston cardistry scene is like the closest proximity of cardists there is
Yes.
Mm.
currently
we all
in the
live
US.
very, very close.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like all of us are within maybe like a 10 mile maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who
Like,
who are the other people
Um,
who live close?
you, Billy. So
yeah.
I live like a 30-minute walk from Jake.
Oh wow,
Maybe
that's
like
crazy.
7 minutes by car.
It's
Um,
crazy. Yeah.
and Billy lives like 7 minutes from Jake. So we're all like
That's crazy.
all very, very close.
And then
Um,
Jake Jarvis is like, what, 15 minutes by train?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we're all very close in proximity.
We're all
So
pretty close.
it's very easy to meet up. Like I meet up with him a lot more because I'm just it's either he's always like in this area or I'm always over like by the Harvard area. Um, but yeah, it makes it very easy.
Yeah,
Very easy. So,
that's cool. But when I was there in 2023, there were like 30 people or something, or maybe
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's a lot of people that show up to like the big events, but you have to like really like say like, this is gonna be a big event. As long as you emphasize the fact that this is gonna be a big event with like decks being given out and stuff like that.
Oh right, right.
Yeah.
I forgot missing
Yeah.
missing gave some bricks.
Yeah.
Of course. Then they
No,
all
that was
wanted
hype
jam.
though when you came. That was very hype.
That was super fun. Yeah, that was really nice. That's so funny. Yeah, I feel like in New York, it's kind of the opposite effect. Like if you say in the group chat or whatever, you say like, "Yo guys, big jam happening." You set a date like, "Yo, this is the one. Everyone come out." That's the one where no one comes.
No,
But then if you
that's crazy.
but then if you say like, "Yo, like let's just like get a coffee," and it starts with like two people, and then more cardists start, and then that turns out to be like the big jam. Yeah.
That's crazy. So it just,
Yeah, that's interesting how that works.
yeah. I like what y'all been doing though with like, the January gem art.
Yeah, we're in Jamay now.
We're in
Jamay is going
Jamaica.
really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then we got
I really,
Jejune coming up next.
yeah, June.
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 Jam June. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
No, yeah,
very
that's
fun.
fun.
How's the scene been in New York?
It's been really good. Lewis moved here, which has been really nice, and we got these young kids now too, like 16-year-old kids, um, who are getting into cards, which is really sick. It's nice to have some people younger than me. I've been the youngest one for a while.
Damn.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of wild. Because it used to be when I was getting into cards and I would go to jams, I would obviously be the youngest one, but there were usually a few other young kids my age. But after me, that hasn't really been a thing. There hasn't been like that one 12-year-old, with like two bricks or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's like more kids are starting to get into it now, because of TikTok.
We have a new gen coming up.
Like so
really?
many people hear about like I've been very pleasantly surprised by like the number of times I've been out in public with like Billy or Jake doing cardistry, and somebody comes up and names it.
Yeah.
They go like, "Oh, these guys are doing cardistry."
mm,
That's happened
mm.
so many
It's
times.
so sick.
It happened
Yeah.
less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
My roommate had like one of his friends over, and he like knew cardistry by name. And Jake and I were sitting here in like the living room
We're sitting here
doing
like
cardistry.
jamming, and the dude like walks by in the doorway over there, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are doing cardistry?" And we
Yeah.
both are like,
And
"What
these are
the
people
fuck?"
who are not like they've never touched a deck and tried to do a move in their lives.
No, yeah,
They
yeah.
just
And
know about it.
they know it from TikTok.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, or
Wow.
like Instagram or something. Because it's like our generation is like so much more chronically online, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you get exposed to these things just like randomly. So even if like you don't want to like especially learn it, you'll know what it is.
Right, because you're just gonna see it because
Exactly.
we don't choose what we watch anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. But the more exposure you get to more people, then the more people are just gonna pick it up, just like naturally, I feel. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've only ever had it happen once or twice where someone walks by and says, "That's Cardistry," but in New York, there are a lot of people who know it. Like I would say, like a lot of 20-something people who know it from when they were like a kid, and they can still do like the worm or something,
Um,
which is really cool.
That's cool.
Like a couple years ago, or I guess it was like a little over a year ago, Linus did an event at this like festival in Brooklyn, and we had a booth set up, and we had so many people come over, and like they were like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" We're like, "Oh, we're selling cards," and they would just like bust out Sybil or the Worm, and it was so wild.
That's pretty
But
insane.
yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that TikTok is now introducing people to it.
Good.
Are
And
you
it's like,
guys on TikTok doing cardistry?
uh, I like tried posting for a while. That like
Yeah,
stopped because I got busy with school stuff.
yeah,
Um, might give it a try again this summer. I'm more free.
yeah,
Um, but I think, I mean, if you see the views that like the TikTok videos get, like it makes sense that it's reaching more people.
it's crazy. It's so crazy.
yeah. Yeah, no. I personally don't do it just because I feel like it's such a time commitment. And right now I
Yeah,
just do not have the time. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, I'm really hyped to see a lot of like good artists just like start actually putting stuff out short form because it's like I feel like we're in like a intermission period where cardistry could be reaching new forms of media, and it's like our job as like cardists now to just start reaching that new media and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
But in a
I feel
tasteful way.
like,
Sorry,
hey,
go ahead.
what? No, no, go
In
ahead.
like a tasteful way though. Like in like a tasteful like it doesn't have to be like super commercial at the same time. You know?
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of the thing is like for me anyway, like finding a balance between in putting cardistry in that medium, but finding an interesting way to do it. Like that to me is sort of the like the interesting part. I posted like 3 or 4 videos like a long time ago, but I gave up. But it's sort of a weird like Jack was telling me Jack and Hater were saying that uh, the views on a cardistry video on TikTok are exponentially higher when you put the caption like WYD if bro whatever. So like what are you doing if bro pulls up to the poker table and does this, or what are you doing if bro whatever does this in front of your girl or something, and like the views just go like that when you have that as the caption.
That's
Like
so off.
that's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Comedic
that's
artistry.
yeah, but I think people just need a context to put it in. They need like a like I think, and this is something I think about with cardistry core too. Like when a non-cardist sees a video of cardistry on Instagram with no caption or explanation, like I think I think they just kind of just tune out because there's no way for them to connect to it. There's no point of reference of like, it's like magic, but there's no trick, or it's like this. It's like it's just so out there that it's not even, you know.
Yeah.
It has to be, there has to be some sense of like relatability in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, we were talking about this like we think that like some of the best moves that even reach out to like laymen where you could show them like just like a video of it and they'll be like, damn, that's sick, is like a key factor is relatability. And it's not like relatability as in like, oh, you've seen like a riffle shuffle before, even though Sprat's riffle shuffle cut is like the coolest thing ever. Um, but it's more like the relatability of like the fascination that you get when you see something that you think would be like physically impossible done with like
Right.
cards, you know?
Right. Yeah. And even like even with mechanics within cuts themselves, like people can actually pick up on mechanics, I think, but it's just about having a relatable something to relate it to. Like people have seen a spring, or like I think about Lars's windmill cut where it's like the four cards and he like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when people see that and they will go like, oh wow, it's like a windmill, or oh it's like a wind turbine, or like they can connect dots. It's just that some like a lot of cardistry is there's just no, unless you're a cardist, you don't have that point of reference.
Yeah, you have certain moves that are like so far abstracted from like what like laymen can understand that like it's kind of like
Yeah.
what's the point, you know? You're existing
Yeah.
in this like this niche that like is appealing to like so little people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it relatability is a lot. It does so much for us, like for like cardistry outreach, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys think about that when you're creating cuts? Do you think about the layperson?
I think for me recently, um, yeah, I've been thinking a lot more about that and about like the kind of objects and like motions that are associated with like certain cardistry moves and just like trying to maybe not quite trying to emulate certain things, but like trying to exist within this like realm of relatability to um, just, like everyday objects or like just like because I feel like there's a set of motions that the eye is very naturally attracted to, and I think the best moves, of course, exist or like employ those like kinds of motions. Like I think one of them is spins, like rotations of some sort. I think your eye is very naturally attracted to rotation. It might just be like a subliminal thing because it's like almost like oh there's something happening to the emotion, there's progress, you know. But whether that's like on this axis or like on this one, like whenever your eye sees like something spinning like that, it's very attracted to it. Um,
Mm.
I think when there's like a symmetrical spacing between things, or like an even spacing between things. Like when you have like fans and stuff, that's very
Mm.
attractive. When you're creating like a shape of some sort, whether that be like circular or like um, maybe it's like a square, um, you're that's again like the audience can relate to that because they recognize the shape.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like less so. Um, I think I was thinking about this the other day, but it's more like the intentionality of a move is like what I mainly focus on. Like what purpose does this have? Like I remember, if you remember the Matthew Baudouin, Patrick Barnabas, Cardistry podcast, Cardistry
Yeah.
Talk. Like I think they talked a lot about like having like a point to a move. And I saw this article yesterday on like there's a lot of people trying to start their own clothing brands, but like really like they're only like slightly different. Like it's just like another graphic t-shirt and they change the graphic like slightly and maybe put like a new message or something and that's it. And there's not that much intentionality in it. Like you're just like doing something that's like homogenous. And I feel like if you have a clear intention with a move or with anything, it'll help differentiate itself at the very least. As long as like, you're informed and like you have a decent understanding of like what's happening in cardistry and like the taste, then you can create something that's unique. And then sometimes I get lucky where it also appeals to laymen.
Right.
Because I think it's like, after you've been doing cardistry for so long, like trying to have that relatability to layman is going to be a little bit harder because you understand all the nuances now and you get like these mechanics that happen in a cut. But then by nature of understanding that, you could also lose some of that understanding of, oh, what does this person who doesn't do cardistry appreciate about this move or something like that.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're making a cut, you kind of have to answer the question, why does this move exist? What's the point of this move?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it
Yeah.
doesn't have a point, then you fall into that trap of like how like is this move just like any other card right next to it, you know?
Yeah. Creating just for the sake of creating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I feel like when I'm creating a move anyway, like it feels to me a bit like everything is telling me that this move shouldn't exist and like I shouldn't be creating and like I have to prove that I should spend my time creating to some imaginary voice or whatever. Like you have to like be the move has to like and you can feel it when a move is good and it has a reason for existing, you feel it and you react.
Yeah.
And I think laymen can too, but they just don't have the same reference points that we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we're so deep in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some of the some of the best moves though have that really funny absurdist feeling where it's like it's almost like it shouldn't exist. Like it's very funny that this move exists. Like let me put this crazy idea into this cut. Or like what if like I did like this thing in the middle of a cut? That would be really funny. And it'll make you laugh when you first think about it. But
Right,
then
right,
like
right, right.
when you actually make it possible, it's like holy shit. It's a move. Like it's happening. So
Right, right, right.
yeah, yeah. Please figure it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. There have been a few times I can remember where I've shown someone a move or shown someone an idea and they said like that's so stupid.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not even like that's stupid but it will be cool. It's just like no, that's stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's almost it almost feels like a compliment for some reason.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so speaking of competitions and the trials, you mentioned CCC. Did you guys see that post someone put up about CCC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your guys' thoughts?
Um, I think it's, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know how I feel about bringing it back. I'm not sure if it should be brought back. I think we're, we've evolved so far past that,
Yeah.
as an art form. I think, um, there were a lot of issues about CCC. And I think the reason why people were more like drawn to the trials or more drawn to like um, the competitions happening now um, is because of those like problems. Like I think one of them was the fact that was just like the amount of output um, that
Mm,
you'd be required to like that you would need to have um,
Especially
for a
you.
CCC run.
Yeah.
Yeah, like is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
no, it's
so
crazy.
um it's so much more vast than anything now. And I feel like because of that, it forces you to create a lot more mediocre moves. Because the reality is like you're not gonna have like of course it's easy to say that you'd like every single move in all of your CCC rounds to be good, right? But I think the reality is no matter how much you try to make that true, it'll only be like there'll only be like a handful of standouts and all the others will be mediocre at best. And what you're really asking is you're asking for the competitor to create like um a lot more like um maybe mediocre is the wrong word, but like not as good material to kind of balance out the insane stuff.
Mhm.
And for some people, that's not worth it, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I can't really imagine what that would look like nowadays. I feel like it would just be, it would create a situation where you'd be seeing a lot, a lot more mid moves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like the other competitions are, I think they were designed to like kind of optimize the number of good moves you're putting out, right? like trials. The reason it's like having the video be that short allows you to really pack a video with really good moves and not have to worry about all this other bullshit that just isn't there. Um,
Yeah.
the way singles is designed is to focus on one move, which inherently has to be good for you to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, same with battles. It's we're seeing like a decrease in output, but as a result, like it's like the moves are great.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
all the moves are like there's there's less opportunity for you to have more mid moves.
The quality is shot up for sure.
Right.
And I think it burns people out less.
Yeah, that too.
Like even trials to an extent at a point where people were getting burnt out because you just have to save up like a lot of material.
Oh,
Or else
yeah.
you could even just run out like what? How long was 2022? It was like 5 rounds, right? Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of moves. That's a lot.
I mean, everyone I know who entered the trials said that once they got eliminated, they were so burnt out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's very good to have like a competition a year, I would say. Like one competition, like one big one. But I feel like we reached like an issue point maybe like a couple years ago where it was like competition oversaturation. Where you just had like I feel like there's a contest, either like an edit contest or like a video or like some like tournament style competition like every couple months. And it would just
Mm.
be too much. And I feel like in competitions, right? Like you're not only creating for yourself, but also creating to like impress other people inherently. Like you want to create the most hype videos to get to the next round or to get your prize or something. And I feel like that's good and it helps get especially like younger cardists, like people who are less known, more exposure. But it also kind of takes away from that expressivity side of cardistry, where you can just create videos for yourself. Like I
Right.
remember the Fontaine era with like the team, you know, like Carter and like James and Kyle and like and Franco at one point. Like the Aquaberry release, for example. Like I feel like because it really wasn't a competition, but just like, oh, just like show these cards in your way. Then like we got some crazy creative videos out of it. The
Mm.
Aquaberry one stands out to me the most, probably.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because I think also with there being so many competitions now, and those competitions sort of tightening the number of moves you can put into a round, it also feels, and this is, I don't know if this is either because of that or if that's a result of this, but it feels like now cardistry is very focused. Like moves are number one, and then aesthetics and style are kind of becoming secondary to moves now.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
And it's kind of sad to me. I don't know. For me, it's at least kind of sad.
It's we're in need of like kind of an artistic revolution, I think, within cardistry. Like I think there's so much opportunity for people to be bringing in like their taste in like other things and not just be like I feel like I don't know because it's I almost feel like you we each owe it to cardistry to bring like these other art forms that we got from cardistry back into it. You know, because there's so many things that cardistry introduces you to, and you almost have to repay that by bringing in like more like taste in like music or like more like film, taste in film, into your videos.
Yeah.
You know,
And then by doing that, like you just inherently get cooler stuff coming out of cardistry. It's because it's like, wow, like look at these crazy like shots, like it's so beautiful, and they have shuffling cards, or it's like, oh, these are like really cool songs, or just other like stuff like you could have more creative shit.
right, right. I guess because I was competitions are part of this, a part of the move focused era we're in now. But I think also the move to short form is a big reason why we're so
Yeah.
focused on moves now too, because it's a lot harder to be artistic when you're working in this medium, I think.
Yeah. I think someone who strikes a good balance though is Yang. I really enjoy Yang's content because he is like very good at not only cardistry, like his cardistry is like so sick to watch, but
Yeah.
also like his way of recording videos also stands out, I feel, as opposed
Yeah.
to like, the normal tripod video. Like they're so high quality, and you could tell that like he understands sort of like the perspective and like sort of like what makes like a clean video as well. So like I feel like I don't know something like that. Could be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, his videos are sick.
Yeah, those videos are so cool.
Yeah.
But I do think like I feel like competitions are important for like the younger generation because
Yeah,
it's such a I mean it's such a good way for you to um, like get your name out there, especially for
Yeah.
people who aren't like in an area where you have like a ton of good cardists and aren't like you don't have like good cardists like immediately accessible to you.
yeah,
It's such a good way to get your name out there. It's such a good way to like improve, um, to learn. Um, yeah,
yeah. No, I totally agree. Like, if you want to get good at creating like good ideas for moves in like a very short amount of time, like being productive, like being a little more prolific, then like thinking about things in terms of like competitions helps a lot.
right.
It's like you just have like
Mm.
so many ideas floating through your head. And it's like, okay, how do I make these into
Yeah,
moves?
it teaches you to like think on the fly, and it
Yeah,
teaches you to um, think about what's important, and not go too crazy about things that aren't that relevant or important in that moment. Just like to be happy with what you have and like to like do just enough.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I feel like we both started off as like, I mean, you especially, me like less so, but like as competition cardists, you could say.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It like it definitely I'd say it accelerates your growth quite a bit. 100%. It like forces you to move on from
Yeah,
like old moves. Like I think people have like this issue of not being able to move on from like these moves that they've had for like years, and not being able to like kind of let go of like certain moves, whether that's like waiting to like show them in like a video or like just like being unable to like move on to like the next thing.
yeah,
Um, and competitions kind of force that out of you, like they force you to like leave the stuff behind and like go on to the next thing. They force you to continually think about how to one
mhm,
up yourself and how to like break boundaries, break into different fields of cardistry that you never would have thought about before.
yeah.
You're forced to like adapt and like evolve at like a really quick pace.
Like just
Mm.
reinventing yourself constantly.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how you grow pretty fast. Just like try and not well.
But do you feel like that very compressed, like, sort of character development through a competition, do you feel like that's what causes the burnout? Because there's so much
Yeah.
emotional turmoil of like, okay, I had this move and I had to let that one go, and then I grind on this move for 5 hours, and I get a tick, and then I let it go, and then it's like,
Yeah. It
you
totally
know what
is.
I mean?
It's I think what causes the burnout is you having done that so many times that you're like just like trying to figure out where to go next. And of course like it gets harder like the more times um you go through that process, right? Um yeah, and I think burnout is exactly that. It's getting just like tired, not knowing where to go next. You like exhausting your immediate options, you know. Um but yeah.
Yeah, I remember you were talking to me this about because we both did battles, right? And like I remember filming your final. It was like during term season, and we were both just like so dead tired. How did you
Yeah.
feel after like the final of battles? Like you'd already done like trials both years before that, and like
Well, the thing is that the thing about the competition cycle is that you're so excited and you have so much energy to like begin with, and by the end, it's like let me just get it done with, you know. Uh,
Mm,
it's hard to keep that going all the way through. I usually am very excited through like the semifinal, and by the time I'm at like the finals, it feels more like a chore. Um, but I do think it's I feel like it's an important thing to go through. I think it shows you what you can deal with. Like you put yourself through so much.
your cardistry endurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
so you would recommend competitions to young artists, both of you
100%.
guys?
100%. 100%. It's also just fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like the competition
Yeah.
culture is like, even though like it could be toxic and burnouty, like it's like, oh, like what does this person have? Like they probably have some crazy stuff saved for the next round.
Yeah.
Or like just like thinking about like, oh my God, like how am I gonna one up myself from like last round or like and it's just like hectic stuff like that. It's sometimes fun, you know, to be in the midst of it.
Right. Yeah. But okay, so but do you think like what do you think is healthier for a cardist to do a competition and go, cycle through so many ideas, so many cuts, so many hours spent filming in a short period, or to spend a year, 2 years, 3 years cultivating a small number of moves, saving, and then dropping a video?
I think it depends on the kind of person you are and what you're comfortable with doing. I I believe that there's there's like some value in like the turmoil you go through as a artist, and like the burnout you eventually go through. Like I think it teaches you a lot. It I mean, there's a reason you move past burnout, right? It's because you're learning to get over the issues that you're having in that like very moment. Um, and I feel like there's when people I feel like there's like this notion of like people just doing cardistry for fun, and it's you're doing it wrong if it's not like always fun. But like art, like it's inevitable that you're gonna go through burnout, right? If you're doing so much of something that you love. And I feel like the burnout teaches you quite a bit. And I see quite a bit of value in that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I
I
agree.
think, yeah, it's inevitable that you're gonna reach like a challenging point where
exactly.
it's force you to grow or to stagnate.
Yeah.
Um, but also for reference, like I think at least for me, I like we're both the kind of person to procrastinate before a final or like some exam in like school, and like having that pressure helps like create moves because almost like if there's no pressure, no deadlines,
Yeah,
then like you could also stagnate in creating moves.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, I think it's a moderation. Like it's definitely not healthy to be doing competitions all the time. And it's probably more healthy long term, to
Yeah.
be, just saving moves. Like honestly, like having like
I think
just
there's a balance.
yeah, there's a balance.
And I think it would benefit you to kind of find that balance because I think you learn different things from different
Yeah.
experiences. You learn different things like from saving for a solo video.
Mhm.
Learn different things from entering a competition.
Yeah.
There's good that can be taken from both. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Saving has its own like joys though. I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's very
for sure, for sure.
I think I'm learning
Like
that more now,
I think one of the
honestly.
best things about saving is just being able to just have a stockpile of moves that you can just like show people and just like get a
Yeah.
reaction out of people.
Yes.
dude, that's the
Yeah.
It's so
best. It's
great.
the best.
Like when somebody pulls up to a jam and you like show them a move and you get a reaction, um, or like when you go to like a different place and you show a move and you get a reaction, like that's so great.
No, yeah.
Dude,
It's such a
best
great
feeling.
feeling.
Best feeling.
Yeah,
No, I honestly that's how I start like creating moves again. Like I start not with the idea of like having a video, but just like I want to show something to someone in person and get a reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I
Yeah.
start creating over and over
It's
again.
like what Zach says in that Wired CardistryCon 2015 video. You guys have seen that, where he says something like, if I can make a move that makes my friend from Denmark impressed, that's why I continue to shuffle. I feel like that's
Yeah.
so, like,
So sick.
whether you're in a like I've never competed, but whether someone's in a competition or if they're saving for a video, whatever the reason for doing cardistry, I think having at least one other cardist that you really want to impress is like, and I think you said it already, Trin, but like having something and or someone that you want to impress or you want to live up to, and you feel a certain amount of stress from that, I think tends to breed some really great cardistry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also tends to lead to some burnout. But I think
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a stripe you wear, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
it's kind of like you said it already, but like just putting your like going really far for cardistry that you're excited about, I think is overall a positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just in general, cardistry teaches you so many things about life. I know Jake and I have talked so much about this, but there's so many things that um, can be taken or can be applied to cardistry um, from just like your life. And like, I feel like one of those things is like designing moves and learning to like create. I think it teaches you mostly about like burnout and all those things, but it also, at least for me recently, I've been learning to, um, or like the more recent moves I've been creating kind of stem from an idea, and from a lot of like reverse engineering, um, and I think it also applies a lot to what I'm doing in school, um, kind of starting from like an idea of an end product and like working back, and you really see like the overlap that kind of exists there, um, and it allows you to kind of be more attracted to certain things when they emulate this like feeling that you get from cardistry.
Oh yeah. No, no, no. I think because growing up around cardistry, us three growing up around cardistry, right? Like it's this new thing. Like you can create something that someone has never done before in cardistry because it's so new, right? And you're constantly thinking about like novelty and creation. And growing up around something that allows you to truly create sort of teaches you this intuition of like taste and creativity. And it's like so unique and it's so cool because like it's hard to find that in real life. Like if you go into like what, like painting, like if you're gonna try and like find it, like of course there are gonna be new creative painters and they're insane. But like if you're gonna find like a new style in painting, that's hard. Like that's really, really hard because it's like they've been doing this for like centuries, right? And there's so much that's already been done.
Yeah.
Same with music and like a ton of other creative spaces as well.
I think that's what appeals to a lot of people when they first start out is like the idea that you can create something that's never been done before is like really compelling to a lot of people. At least it was for me when I was starting out. Just like realizing that like this is like such a new thing and there's so much like unexplored territory. Like that's it like is almost like inviting you to like explore, and like to like create things. Um, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm an engineer. I'm studying engineering in school, and like the whole idea, at least in my opinion, from my perspective of engineering, is to like solve a problem, like recognize something that hasn't been done before that needs like a solution,
Yeah.
and then the same thing. I feel like that's how what motivated me to create in the first place. Like I wasn't seeing enough of what I wanted to see, so I just wanted to start creating it myself. And I feel
Right.
like it could be applied anywhere. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Very true.
And it's like the idea of like filling a niche is like such like a fundamental thing
Yeah.
in like life, you know, and like so in so many industries, it's like like all these people like knowing their way around like a certain like discipline or like knowing their way around a certain skill and trying to find like trying to fill this like issue that like exists and trying to find these issues that exist so that they can like ultimately like better humanity.
No, yeah, exactly, exactly, yeah. Just keep
But
things moving forward.
do you guys think that what drew you to like because you said because Cardistry is so young, there's so many
Hmm.
unexplored areas. But do you think it's how young Cardistry is that's what drew you to it, or do you think in 100 years from now people are gonna there's gonna be this notion that all the styles kind of exist already, or a lot, it's not as because like do you think when Cardistry gets older, it's not gonna be seen uh, as exciting or as people aren't gonna want to get involved as much?
Here's where I think cardistry is special, um, and why I keep doing it, why I'm so interested in it still, is that it exists at the intersection of so many different things, and also the fact that you can do so much with this, and it exists at the intersection of like all these different art forms that there's I don't even know if we could reach a ceiling. I mean, of course, I could be completely wrong, and in 100 years, everything will be done. But at the same time, like I feel like there's just so much possibility with cardistry because it's so like it just has such a huge scope that I feel like even if like I don't know, packet cuts could die out, like there could be like we could run out of like interesting things in packet cuts. I feel like there's always something else, some other avenue that people could explore.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're always going to value the person who does something that no one else does in cardistry in any art form. Like anyone who can do something that no one else is doing and kind of make their own genre or make their own have their own way of doing things is always going to be
Exactly.
what we push to the top.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
And
because
it's just a cycle, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's always going to be like a different era. We're living in some era right now. I wouldn't know how to define it, but like
Yeah.
at some point in the future, it's going to be completely different, and we may not even realize it changed, but like we'll realize like, oh my God, this is so much different than like. I mean, right now it's so much different than like 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say one of the main characteristics of how I would describe our current era is just packet cuts. It feels like
Yeah.
it feels like our generation got into cardistry with packet cuts, and we kind of were the ones who like took that wave and rode it.
No,
But it
literally.
feels like, but I think we're gonna transition out of that soon. I think. I don't know.
Really? Wait, how so?
Yeah.
Well, what do you predict is going to happen to packet codes?
I think we're just gonna move away from kind of what I was saying to Trent earlier about his style. Like, I think eventually we're gonna just start taking mechanics and grips that we are putting in packet cuts now and put them into other things.
Hmm.
I don't know what it would be, but I just feel like there's like I think when we got into cardistry, packet cuts felt like this very unexplored territory, like so much potential. Like I remember when like 2017 when the anyone guys were like doing slides.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but that was like blew my mind that that was a whole thing you could explore within packet cuts. And I think our generation kind of rode that out, and now we're kind of at this point where we might start to see, and even we're already starting to see it now, but I think we're going to
Yeah.
see more like sort of they're technically packet cuts, but they don't feel like packet cuts. I think is what we're seeing a lot of now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
No,
it
yeah.
feels like when we got into cardistry, packet cuts were the exciting new thing, and they're still great. I still make them. I still love them, but it feels like now they're sort of they've become the norm, and I think we're already starting to see packet cuts that kind of transcend packet cuts or don't feel like packet cuts.
I think that's what we're both focusing on right now, honestly. Like packet cuts that
Yeah.
are actually packet cuts.
Yeah,
Packet
yeah,
cuts that are packet cuts is what you're
are
creating.
That
or not.
that are not.
That are not. Okay, okay, okay.
Um, but yeah, I think it's impossible to hit a ceiling, to be honest. I think the I feel like because there's so much that can be done, and I think it's just the nature of an art form that will never hit a ceiling because people will always be trying to like kind of break into unexplored territory. And I think that's what furthers the art form ultimately is like starting a trend, like
Yeah.
um starting whether that be like the packet cutting trend or like going into like a different like genre. Um like that's what really um kind of keeps things changing, keeps things evolving. And I think it'll definitely be harder um to create new moves in like 100 years, let's say. Like there'll definitely be the that like feeling that like, oh damn, like everything's been done. And like, oh, like it's so much harder now to create anything because everything's been explored, but like people will find a way. We'll be in a place so far away from where we are now in 100 years that there'll be so many more avenues that have opened up, so many more like trends that have gone by, so many more mechanics that have been like just like generalized that have been like that everybody can do. Um, that we'll be seeing something completely different, like
Yeah.
unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopeful. Um. Yeah. No. I was gonna say, yeah. I agree. How about decks though? Like, do you
Mm,
think we're gonna reach a ceiling with like deck designs? I feel like definitely not, but like I feel like we're also at the end of like an era when it comes to like putting out decks and
yeah.
going.
I just saw today a video by Chris Ramsey. I don't know. Did you guys see this? He just released his what he claims to be is his last deck ever, and he's gonna shut down his card brand now.
Oh,
Interesting.
And he doesn't say much in the video as to why. He just kind of says he doesn't feel like doing it anymore, so he's not going to do it. But I just kind of saw that and thought like that's really sick to just like to just have this successful card brand, or at least I think it's successful, and just be like I have. He says in the video like I have enough decks to carry me until I die. There's no need to print any more cards. For he's talking about himself, and I think that's a really interesting thing. Like I think just not doing something that you don't want to do is so cool. And I think we're at a point where brands don't have to print any more cards.
no, yeah, yeah. It's so interesting. I mean, it's definitely because I feel like you see people like, I mean, you see people like Carter and stuff, and like you see more people like going back
Yeah.
to
Yeah, the standards are coming back.
the standards are coming back.
I
I think
think
that's sick as fuck.
yeah, I think you're right, Glenn. I think we're at a time where brands are realizing that like people are responding less to like fresh decks and like new decks,
Mhm.
and it's not as worth it
Yeah.
to print up to just have like a ridiculous output of like new
Yeah.
decks.
Mhm.
Um, and like there are many other things that could be focused on product wise when it comes to cardistry. Like it's not just the decks, There's so many other uh, banning powder, like the missing buffers, card
Yeah.
clips, um, the card cases that like Carpeter makes,
Yeah, dude,
There-
they're so sick.
There's
Or
Yeah.
many
the
things.
the anyone leather cases.
Right,
Too.
Yeah,
right. Or
yeah.
like the
Huge.
stackables,
Yeah.
There's
Oof, yeah,
Leather
this is
brick
sick.
box.
so many things that could be expanded on.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot more of that in like the next few years because I feel like um, it's just not it's not the right move to keep printing as many decks.
No.
And
Yeah.
it's definitely, I'm sure it can't be that fun after that long. Like surely you're gonna, like, of course, like, you're gonna want to switch things up
Yeah.
and, like, in one way or another, you know.
No, Missing's doing such a good job of that right now, I feel. Like there's so many like new ideas of like what products to put out in the cardistry community
Yeah.
coming from Missing. Like I mean we just saw the different size decks.
The different sizes, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so sick. They're
I think
so
someone
sick.
commented on that post, Callisto thumb cut incoming, and that was like one of the funniest things to me. But it's like it's so sick, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna have people who couldn't do thumb cut before be able to do all this crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
You can do thumb cut. Like, because Leo brought some, like, samples that he had to a jam, and Callisto, he's the young kid who hangs out with us. He was able to thumb cut on, like, whatever, the 80% one. Like,
Huge.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to hate on the fact that we're babying these kids now, but it's really sick.
Yeah.
I think it's cool 'cause I feel like there are certain moves that, like, let's say, like, the Danes were creating, right? Because of how massive their hands are and how like massive they are, that just are not like. I meant massive as in, like, larger than life. That, like, just cannot be done by, like, just, like, smaller people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, you're gonna see, like, so many different, like, now that Missing has put those decks out, there are gonna be so many mechanics that are gonna be discovered by people who have smaller hands, who are now
Yes.
able to create with, like, at the same scale as, like, Oliver with these decks.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So many things are suddenly going to become possible
Yeah.
because you're exposing these, like, minds to, like, this, like, scale that, like, they've never seen before.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And like 11-year-old me would have probably really appreciated it to be able to do Charlia cut when I was starting out. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's gonna be really weird at first to see, like, because I'm thinking now, okay, like a 9-year-old Cardis, if that exists, could create an Oliver move, for example. Not that they could, but hypothetically,
Yeah.
like, because when I think of a young Cardist, obviously they don't have the same skills as an older Cardist, but part of what marks their identity as, like, a noob Cardist, so to speak, is the fact that the deck is way bigger than their hands.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be able to see super young cardists with holding cards that are, to the same proportions as when we hold a deck.
Yeah.
And so, like, cardistry from young kids is going to look super different now. Which is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. You best be terrified when the 9-year-old adds another packet to retrigger, 7th packet to retrigger.
Exactly. Or even, like, how young can we go? 6, 5
Yeah.
years old? Like,
Crazy.
it's crazy to
Yeah,
think
no.
about.
I was also thinking about this a while back, but like cardistry is like fashion as well, like a way to like make a deck like an accessory on your person or something. We've already been seeing it with like the carbine deck cases, and you can hang. Also, I forgot there's like Sang Cut, right? At the con,
Yes.
giving out those plastic. Those things are so sick to me.
Yeah,
And I
they're really
want one
cool.
so bad. But
Yeah, they're sick.
yeah, no, they're so cool. And that's another like avenue that I feel is like a very unexplored territory.
Yeah. A lot of problems to be solved.
Yeah, those are really cool. Especially considering that we have so many designer decks that are so beautiful to look at. Like, those cases are
Exactly.
perfect.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I was looking at like a Nikolai post the other day as well, where like someone just had like a single card as well as like their accessory. Like
Oh, yeah.
you remember that? Yeah.
I saw that. That was so sick.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Because like, for the example, like the off-world deck or like the courts on the off-world, like this is insane. Like this is
Yeah,
It's
it's a cool
crazy.
deck.
And it's like, imagine just having that as like a little accessory. It'd be It'll be sick.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what would happen if every brand stopped making decks right now.
That's a wild
I think it would be great. I think it would be great. Um, like, dude, just think about it. Like, none of the
No
cards.
more cards.
Yeah, yeah.
No
if
more.
everyone makes decks, and they start going to other shit. Like, we'd see so many different things. We'd see like cardistry would be so different as an art form if we focused less on the deck designs and more on integrating it with the rest of our lives. You know, like,
Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. That would be
What do
really,
you
really
mean?
interesting.
well, like these accessories. You know, like they're all playing a part in like making cardistry larger than what it is, you know, larger than the cards, you know. Suddenly you have them as like accessories, as like uh as like a fashion statement, you know,
Yeah.
as like you can put them up to like display. You can yeah, there's so many different things.
Yeah, like instead of focusing on the deck as like this hyper focused object, like it's more like how you can integrate
Right.
it more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's so much room for expansion. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be cool. And
And I
also
think
like,
it's
oh, go ahead.
no, after you.
I feel like um once we like stop inherently going full force into one avenue of creativity, some other one is gonna open up, I feel, naturally.
Yeah, I just feel like the lack of a presence of new decks, especially when so many of the decks that come out, like we were talking about earlier about moves, like so many decks that come out are sort of self-referential and are you know their reference point of what makes them sick is something else that's come before.
Yeah, 100%.
Where when so many decks are like that, like you said, it continues to kind of uh, push us in this very inward kind of direction
Right. Exactly.
where other products or no products would take us in other directions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you guys ever use like a certain deck, let's say in your room or whatever, and you're creating, and it's everything's fine, and then you ever take that deck out in public and show someone cardistry, and you just kind of feel weird using the deck, as if it's like, as if it's just like wrong to use in public. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You get
some
that
decks
feeling
are just so they don't like the same thing we were talking about with certain packet cuts. Like they only make sense to us cardists because it's just a
Yeah,
you know
yeah, yeah. It's very out there. Some of the decks are very, very out there,
Right.
especially some of the ones coming out right now,
yeah
which is cool. I think it's very cool as like keeping the community interested, but I think that like it's become
yeah
very detached from what cardistry originally was. Um,
yeah yeah
yeah,
exactly. Like it's kind of when brands first came out, it was like a new sort of approach on cardistry. It was like a new twist on what cardistry is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now that we're many years on from that, it's sort of like it's just kind of playing on itself at this point.
Mhm. Right. No,
It's not
exactly.
that new twist that it once was because the tides are shifting. But also, they need to make a living. You know, they
Yeah.
can't. They don't take any blame. Like,
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
The
Of
new
course.
twist right now would be a cardistry brand that doesn't produce cards
yeah.
and produces anything but cards.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
just producing vibes.
Producing vibes.
No, that would be sick though. That would be really, really sick.
Because when you like most of the cardistry brands, like they're we know them as cardistry brands, but really they're card brands, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
produce cardistry.
Mm.
Their main product are cards. Their main product isn't cardistry. That's not something that you buy. You buy the cards, you know. And I feel like it's easy to find yourself in that box suddenly of just
Mm.
being a card brand, but like there's so many other things.
Yeah. And I think that we had this idea earlier where it's like imagine because a lot of brands create the deck and then tailor the video around the deck. But imagine if you had this vision of like a theme and then you make because now we have the ability to like make pretty decent cards just like on a whim, just like get a design in there and just make it for the vibe, and then produce like these videos as like, and then I just have the deck also fit the vibe of the videos instead of the videos being tailored to the deck.
Right.
And you don't even need to like sell the deck, right? It's like it could just be like a one of one. They just give to
Yeah.
people and they're like, okay, you can just make a cool video with
Yeah.
that. And yeah, I mean, we see it with your with like the square.
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. That's something I want to do more of.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's also like what you said, like the difference between a cardistry brand and a card brand. Like, you know, if you're not making cardistry videos, but you're selling cards, are you a cardistry brand?
yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
the customers are cardists, but
Your card brand.
Your card brand.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can still be considered a cardistry brand and not produce cards.
Yeah.
You know,
No, exactly.
you can produce like videos, like cardistry videos, and produce products that appeal to cardists. That kind of expand cardistry, but it's not like I feel like people just think it's necessary because this is like the primary tool, but like there are other things
Right.
that enhance the cardistry experience.
No, exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be even cool. Like, it would be really cool to make like video helping tools as well
Dude,
that are
yeah.
specifically made for cardistry. Like, I, I'm trying to like think of it, but like, imagine like something that would help you like see different angles of your hand easier when you're like recording. It's like, or just like something else like that. Like, it would be so sick. There's so many different unexplored areas just because like we're so focused on just making cards right now.
Exactly. Or like tools
Yeah.
to like optimize like the
Yeah.
creation process.
Exactly.
Tools to like you know, you have things as small as like fixing like a click in a deck.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
has
No,
been-
literally.
Like imagine like and people say you can just pharaoh cards back to front and that fixes it. Like that's BS. Like that's never worked in anyone's life. You know, like
Yeah.
people haven't found a way to fix that. But there's a way to fix that. Like it's rooted in science. Like
No,
there's
yeah.
a way to fix it. And like
That would be so sick.
instantaneously, you know.
To have like a machine that you just like put a
Right.
deck in, and then it comes out and it's like perfect condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that nobody has tried to fix it, really.
Yeah. No.
But there is a way. You know?
Yeah.
Well, Jake, you're an engineer, so get on it.
Yeah. I'll be on that.
But I feel like if you did figure out a way to do it, you would have you would have to, I'm joking, but you would have to like make it like a monthly subscription or something. So you could make like a ton of money. It's like so much money. Like you have to pay a month for like the fluid that you put into the machine that like makes it unclick or something.
Yeah. No. Literally.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are ways to monetize things like these.
Yeah.
There's definitely like people will think of ways to monetize everything.
Join my Patreon, and then you'll ship
Yeah.
your decks to me, and then I'll clean them, and then I'll ship them back to you.
But I feel like it is possible to make money.
Yeah,
Through
yeah.
other things. Like maybe it's not as lucrative as producing playing cards, but I think it's possible. I think it could be very, very viable in the future.
That would be dope. That would be sick.
Yeah, like that doesn't even have to be like that can be like physical products that you can sell. That could be like a service, you know. Like people are charging to like charging brands to like film videos for them. You have people taking commissions for videos.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that you can do. Pay for like an online, like some kind of like online, like digital service, you know.
Mhm.
So many opportunities. Like
Yeah.
I don't think finding a way to monetize these things or like to make money off of them is the issue necessarily.
No, and I don't know if we should be focusing on that
Yeah,
because I think the thing that's like also that helps cardistry a lot is that it's so accessible. Because you just can get like a deck of bikes
right, exactly.
for relatively cheap and just start doing cardistry. And like missing base decks, for example, is also relatively
Yeah.
expensive.
Shout out. But I do think that similar to what we were saying earlier about competitions and burnout and stuff, I do think there is a place for, and this applies to decks, a place for like striving for something greater in cardistry. Like when I started out with bikes as a cardist, the first thing I wanted was to get a branded deck because that was like the thing. And then I kind of, you know, when I got those branded decks, I became a much more serious cardist. I still sucked, but I was
That's true.
very devoted to cardistry because I got the deck. I
That's
got the
true.
hype deck.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I'm a cardist now.
Right.
There was kind of that, like, of course we all shuffle for fun, but like I think it is important, and decks can provide this. Like I think it's important that we have some sense of struggling uphill in some way. Like
Exactly.
And I think that'll be like prevalent with like non-card products, right? Like I feel like even then you're by purchasing like this product, you're driving yourself further into this niche and you're becoming more devoted.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Hmm.
I feel like inherently if you buy a pack of buffers from the missing website and you're like you're gonna be more invested in cardistry after that.
That's
Right?
fair. Yeah.
Like yeah.
I
yeah,
think.
because also you spend money too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's always going to be a need. It's like doing competitions versus saving for a solo. I think there's always going to be a need for make some sort of like new deck. Of course, like I think it's really oversaturated right now, but like we could still like put out decks just very much in moderation, because like that feel. I don't know if it might be harder to replicate that feeling of like you see a really good cardist using that deck, and then you want to get that deck, and then when you get that deck, you kind of have that. You feel that connection, like at
yeah,
peak anyone era, or I'm not gonna say it's peak anyone era because I don't want to compare any eras, but like when Noel and Nikolai and Tobias were
yeah. The
all
peak. Yeah,
doing stuff with like the red dots and like the checks.
And even the logo. Like
Yeah, and the
it makes you
logos.
want the
Like
logos.
when you get your hands on like
Yeah.
red dots or logos, it's like, oh, you kind of feel that connection
Yeah, for
to
sure.
what they were doing. And it makes you want to
yeah,
be,
no,
and what makes you want to handle cards like that.
yeah,
Wow.
no, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's all about having something that especially young artists can like strive to. I think
Yeah.
is really important, especially now that I feel like there's right now because there's been a conversation about the decay of cardistry or whatever, but like there's a lot of love in the community right now. I feel like, and it's amazing. But I also think that a certain amount of like s- struggling or suffering is also healthy too for a community. Like a certain
Yeah.
amount of like, oh, like I really want to get on that level, or I really want to be on that platform, or get a video with that person, or like trying to kind of just climb. I think
Yeah.
is really, really,
Exactly.
really healthy because it's of course it's easy to say like we're all cardists and we all do this thing because we love it, and there's nothing, and there's that's all there is to it. Like I think that's an easy thing to say, but in reality, I think what really drives a lot of the best cardists is like trying to be more than
Exactly.
what they currently are, which is a little unhealthy, but also a little healthy, I think.
It keeps you going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think it ties back to that idea of relatability, right? Like you're trying to when you're purchasing a deck, you're um you're trying to be more like um the person that's using it in the trailer. But when you're creating a cardistry video to promote a deck, you're creating this like relatability, right? That will be kind of achieved when the person purchases the deck.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's yeah, you it's a lot of like um trying to become someone else constantly, trying to um kind of kind of emulate something that you find cool.
Yeah.
That's what builds taste.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's what builds style.
And I think it's sad now because there's too many decks. So you don't have like a ton of really good cardists using one deck, like the Black Fontaines or
mm,
the Red Dots. And instead you just have these like tons of decks, like so many decks. And you can't
wow,
really find that relatability factor because it's like, oh, like the good cardists are using like 50 different decks at once.
that's such a good point.
You can't
That's
get
such a
that
good
same
point.
feeling of I feel like Nikolai when I handle Red Dots.
That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. I'm thinking back to back when I was first getting into cardistry and BCA was around, and it felt like, at least in my memory, on that page, fontaines, 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 dots, 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 a checkerboard
Exactly.
here. Like the best, like it was literally like, if you're a good cardist, you use these decks,
Yeah.
and
No,
almost like
literally.
yeah,
It's so sick. I mean, like just seeing like the black and the pink fontaines on BCA like every single time is like, yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah. Like I feel like when I was first getting into it, there's definitely this idea of like I like you're almost buying a deck that you see somebody use in an Instagram post so that you can make the same Instagram post.
yeah,
So that you can
yeah,
use the deck in an Instagram post and have it achieve like the same effect.
literally,
And
yeah,
there could be times where you never pick that deck up again, or you never post with it ever again because you've achieved that, you know?
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
then you have these decks that are like so historic. It's sad, but like the wins, for example. Like whenever I see someone with the wins, like I automatically assume that they're just like really good because I feel like I've
right,
seen so many good win posts or
right,
like win moves.
It's just
yeah,
associated with this, like,
Just naturally
yeah.
associated. Yeah.
yeah. Or like when this was before my time, but when blue seals were around,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it was like the same thing. Like if you get your hands on a deck of blue seals, you're not going to become a better cardist automatically, but you're going to be so excited by having this deck that's so special that you're going to spend a lot more time shuffling, and you're going to spend a lot more time comparing yourself to the cardists who you saw using that deck, which, you know, comparison I think can be a great motivator of
For
saying like,
sure.
oh, I'm not as
Yeah.
good as this guy, but I really want to be.
No, yeah.
Definitely.
You always need your inspirations. Like you need your style inspirations because like when you're starting off and you're just like this unmolded piece of clay, like you need something that you think is cool to latch onto. And eventually, you'll start doing your own thing. But like having that sense of, oh, this is cool is like really,
Right.
yeah,
Especially for younger people too. Like we were saying earlier. Like I think
exactly.
people are talking about how there's no growth in cardistry, but like I think like because for us who are already in the community right now,
Mhm.
we all love cards and we can all talk about how we're just in this for the love of cards, and that's amazing, and for a lot of people that's the truth. But like especially for younger people, there you're not going to want to spend hours and hours and hours of your day and struggling with something if you just enjoy it or you just find it
Right.
fun.
You need
Like
an
Exactly.
end, like an end goal, you know. You need
Yeah, yeah.
something there to be like, and there's like an incentive.
Something
You know?
tangible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like you're
yeah,
trying to become this person, or you're trying to
exactly.
emulate this move. You're trying to um, kind of just like recreate this video that you thought was cool, you know.
yeah,
And I think having those kinds of inspirations come in from different places is what really forms your taste.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
yeah, totally. And yeah, yeah, 100%.
Seeing like the OG, like at least what comes to mind originally for me is like seeing the OG like Scott and Patrick edits, like
Mm,
seeing like OG edits or like edits that are now like old by modern standards. Got me so into it in the first place. Like that,
mm,
along with like, the famous videos that everybody sees and that are also like you also just see like these really cool edits and realize
yeah,
like, oh yeah, you could work towards that. Totally.
yeah.
Like videos seem a
Sometimes,
little more out of out of the picture initially, especially if you're not around other artists.
mm.
But
So
eventually,
it's
like, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it seems like you are very drawn to edits in cardistry.
For me, yeah, that's where I started, I would say, and I still am.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just like it's such an accessible way of like just expressing yourself in cardistry, Because it's like it's not just an Instagram post, but it doesn't require the same amount of like effort and production as like a solo video or like a full-on like actual like video. Um,
Uh,
and like you could literally just sit down one afternoon and be like, I'm feeling this way. Let me make an edit. And
uh,
then you could just have it out there, and it's so spontaneous and so like interesting to see people do
yeah.
that. And I just like I think back on like some of my most formative moments are just like looking back at like that Fontaine era where you had Carter and like James and Kyle and everyone else producing like these edits like so fast. And of course that also can lead to burnout, but it was so sick.
What a time to be alive that was.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that like kind of inspiration and like being drawn to kind of trying to emulate something that you see is both like very obvious in like the videos that you make and also very obvious in the kinds of moves that you create, right? Because I think especially when you're starting out, there's this idea of like um you see something that you like and you'll naturally like try to emulate that. You'll try to emulate like the motion or you'll try to like kind of create a move in that genre, in that style, using that same mechanic, you know. I think that's why I think that's how trends start. People like
Yeah,
try
yeah.
to like do like the same kinds of you know, there's like the hothead trend that was going around back when Tobias first did the hothead 2 mechanic with like the packet sliding up against the other one. That spawned so many moves.
Yeah, yeah,
Just because people saw that and like really resonated with it and tried like to become that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder what it is right now. I don't know. I can't really identify something like that just might be me.
Like a trend.
Yeah. Like maybe it's just big packet cuts or complex complexity. I don't know.
So yeah.
I think it's the same thing that you were saying about decks and videos and everything, where there isn't one dominating
Yeah.
sort of style or trend in the cardistry world right now. It's sort of a very individualized thing, I
Yeah.
think, at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost feel like having there be like a strong trend of some sort is like an indication of like the community thriving because it's almost like I feel like if I like kind of associate that like the 2017 era with so many there's like the dump trend, you know, the dump trend,
Oh yeah.
there's the hothead trend,
Dude,
there's so many things and I feel like that's so that I just associate that with like a thriving community because
no, it
I
100%.
feel like it is correlated, right? Like
I guess,
you
yeah.
have like so many people coming behind this like one thing, um, because they all like really resonated with it. They all like are really attracted to it, and it spawns so many moves. It spawns
Mhm.
like it gets people into so many like different. It gets people into packet cuts. It gets people into all these other things. You know.
That's so true. Yeah, I think it's trends are huge, like because we're we love we're monkeys. We love seeing community and just wanting to do what other people do. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I see you did a dump variation. I'm gonna do a dump variation. I'm just like I'm part of you now. We're friends. I'm
Yeah.
not alone. Like
If there's
we
this
just want to
idea of something being cool, you're gonna be attracted to it.
Yeah.
yeah, we just
Yeah.
want to be a part of what everyone else is doing and whatever the cool thing is. And so if there is a trend, if there is a dominating style or move or mechanic, it draws in so many people. I mean, I got into cardistry through dump. Like that was
Yeah.
literally how I
Yeah.
got into the entire art form because I saw other cardists doing dump and creating their variations, and I said I want to be a part of that. And that literally was what got me into cards. So like,
That's
yeah,
so sick.
I think having other people doing things that you want to do is gonna be a much better motivator to do cardistry than your own individual enjoyment that you get out of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's
100%.
so um it's so community driven
Yeah.
like short form there's it's I feel like it's almost impossible for it to for there to be a cardist that like exists completely outside of like the community because there's no incentive there. There's no like outside like kind of um stimuli. Like you kind of need that to be able to do it
Yeah.
long term, you know.
Or at least you have to be watching what happens.
Right, exactly.
Because there are people that exist out there that are very good that we don't really know.
Right, but they're still watching cardistry videos.
Yeah.
Like that's how they have a kind of idea of like how good their stuff is, or like
Exactly.
what moves are good
Yeah.
and what to pursue is because they
100%.
have this idea, you know, they're watching videos.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just consuming cardistry is the more important part. Like, I don't think you have to engage with the community in a meaningful way. You just have to kind of be, I think, you don't have to be, but like, for me, it's been helpful to keep my eye on the community.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like, I feel like that's the the way that you get good really fast is just by having a lot of like consumed cardistry media and just like know it.
Yeah.
Because you can
Yeah.
sort of get that intuition of like what, like like this thing I'm cooking with this thing I'm cooking with this move that I'm making.
Right.
And I think what accelerates that, of course, is like having people that also like you actually connecting to the community and like having people to talk to.
Yeah.
Like, that's good.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Very interesting. Um, all right, so I think we will probably wrap up soon, but I like this question. What are you guys consuming outside of cards right now? Music, movies, video
I
games, TV shows?
I asked this to like every cardist friend that I
Yeah.
have. Okay, you wanna go first?
Yeah, I just did like the entirety of Severance, like a couple days.
Of what show?
Severance, the Apple
Oh
TV.
yeah, of course,
So
yeah.
good. So good.
So good.
I feel like there's so many, I don't know. I think cardistry is so informed by like the kind of media you take um, in so many ways. It inspires you to like Severance, for example. I mean, the cinematography is like just like such like a strong point in like that show. Like there's so many shots that are so visually striking, and like just like seeing that kind of um it excites you to think about the possibility of potentially recreating that in a cardistry video.
Mm.
Uh, there's Severance. Jake introduced me to this YouTuber the other day that has like really good stuff. I forgot the name.
I kind of agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so for reference, I am like trying to find more of like the indie, like I guess like expressionistic side of YouTube right now, and by doing so, I'm like coming up upon like a lot of indie animators, a lot of like very like smaller like creations that are just like very thought provoking, I would say, and like sort of finding that like just like people self-produce videos on YouTube is like showing me like how much
Mm.
like we can really progress cardistry because it's just people producing their own videos. And the thing about cardistry is that like it already teaches you inherently how to make some videos. I feel like one key aspect of interacting with the community is making videos, editing, choosing a song, doing things like that. And it just shows like the possibility of like, oh, you have these people on this platform, YouTube, where it's like the Wild West of you could do anything. And you have these crazy expressionistic videos that are so well shot or that are so well animated just happening just because
Mm.
people want to do it. And it's like, oh, we could do that the same. In terms of music, I think we're just both listening to a lot of Earl recently.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Mm.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of
Yeah. In terms of movies for me right now, I've been like really interested in like sound design, I would say. Movies without like too much of a soundtrack or anything aiding it.
Mm.
We were talking about this the other day.
No Country for Old
Yeah, No Country for Old
No
Men.
Zero.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
I
need
know
to, that movie
songs.
doesn't have a soundtrack.
No.
zero
Whoa,
music.
I need
The
to see
only
that.
I'm pretty sure the only music in that movie is the scene with the mariachi band,
Yeah, yeah,
band, and that's
yeah.
it.
That's it.
Crazy.
It's
Well,
really, really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
that's cool.
So, and that sort of informing like, maybe you don't really need music as a crutch in cardistry. I think Carbine made a video recently with someone else. I forget the name, but like they use like an ambient song. And I've wanted to just have like more videos where it's like ambient and cardistry. And that could also be more appealing to like popular social media as well, because it's cardistry is so satisfying. Like you hear the sounds of cards and it's like, wow, that's really
Yeah,
satisfying. Yeah. So like there's so many possibilities in that way.
Yeah.
So
Like and like creating a vibe. I think like Severance, for example, there's it does such a good job of creating this like feeling of like this like um kind of very like um electronic, a very like kind of sleek, modern like office kind of vibe through like its soundtrack. It's a lot of like kind of like robotic beeping um across like the show that um I think um I kind of connected to like like the Daniel video
yeah.
um Power Play where you have like that like it was such like a that was such like a striking choice for a soundtrack when I
yeah.
first saw that video, but it contributes so much to the vibe.
Mhm.
um yeah.
Yeah. There's also another thing. There's like an emulator or something that or like it's like the code thing that I forgot where you could do the song and have the
Oh
notes.
yeah, I've also been messing around with Touch Designer. It's just like it's kind of this like it's called this like node-based programming language where you have like different components that you put together, you string together, and then you plug in like a visual or like audio input of some sort, and it creates this like these like crazy shapes. And I've been
Is
like,
that the thing that Tobias did recently?
it's the same program, yeah,
Yeah.
Same program.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've been kind of messing around with that, plugging in like different audio files.
Hmm.
It's
Mm.
very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Super sick.
Have you been watching any shows?
Any shows? Okay,
No.
well, I want to get into Severance, but for reference, we're both in. He just finished. I'm still in final season right now, final exams for
Mm.
school. Yeah,
Mm.
so I'm waiting until the summer to catch up on like movies and shows and stuff. But right now, I'm very much in the trenches.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, very
Do
rough.
you guys play video games at all?
No.
I think, um, I don't know. This is so weird because I feel like I got into the age, I got into cardistry, at an age where I was able to completely supplement the experience of like playing video games with cardistry,
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
just the thing for me for so long that
Totally.
it
Yeah.
completely eliminated the need to play video games or to find like some game to play because I was just so fixated on like video
Yeah.
and
No.
that like satisfied me.
Same.
So yeah, never got into games.
We get. Have you been playing any interesting video games?
No, I'm not a gamer either. I was just curious if you guys were. But I love GTA and Red Dead Redemption, like the Rockstar games. And so I was curious because they just released the new trailer for GTA 6,
Oh shoot.
which
Yeah.
Yeah.
super excited for that.
So many good childhood memories associated with GTA, I feel.
Yeah, same. Spent
Yeah.
a lot of hours on that game.
I agree. I had the same experience with video games growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I think I got really into cardistry at the exact time that I just like sort of just
It was just
took a step back.
never for me.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe I've played like a handful uh up until like I was 12, but like
Mhm.
I was never a gamer, which is weird because I feel like a lot of I meet so many people who like um kind of like introduce themselves with their hobby being like gaming, or their thing being like gaming, asking like what games are you into,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
No, yeah. Especially with
I
our
know.
generation, I think.
yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than yeah, other
What about movies?
than dates. I mean, No Country for Old Men. So
Yeah,
at the very least, I've been watching Wong Kar-wai films recently.
Oh,
Um,
really? Me too.
I just yeah, no, dude, the shooting is so sick, right?
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched too many yet though. I just watched As Tears Go By, his
I
debut.
saw. Yep, I saw that one.
That one's
And I watched that one like last year, and then like 2 nights ago I watched Chungking Express.
oh
You seen
okay.
that one?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I really want to get one that's like really iconic for me that I really want to watch is Fallen Angels. I think
Yeah, yeah, I want to see that one too.
that's
Super cool.
yeah. Um, I've also been like into looking at like fashion accessories. That's what like motivated me for like the Cardistry fashion accessories. Just like seeing a
Uh,
lot of interesting like belt things that you can do. 'Cause I'm not like into like necklaces or like chains too much, but like having like a nice like belt accessory would be sick. And then like thinking about the things that Senka gave out, like the
yeah,
deck holders.
that's just so
Yeah.
sick.
Sort of like there's this brand called Kigo Kostadanov that makes like these really sick like wallets that you can sort of clip on here, or you can wear it as like a necklace, like the carbine one. Um,
Mm,
and like I was just thinking like making like a really high quality, like possibly like metal or something, like deck holder that you could have. For, like,
that'd be sick.
that would be so cool.
That'd be super sick.
And
Yeah,
maybe I don't have to do it, but like if someone ends up doing it, it's super dope.
yeah, that'd be awesome. I think I'm kind of done with like card boxes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I hate carrying card boxes.
And
I just
we're getting better solutions to it day
yeah,
by day.
yeah. I just put my deck in the I have the leather anyone thing. So I'm done with card boxes. I hate them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, you've got the small window box.
Oh yeah, of course. It's so sick.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a day where you open a fresh deck of cards, and it'll be the norm to just throw away the box, and then
Dude,
they'll just be like an alternative.
Bro, that would be so crazy.
I would love that. I had an idea a while ago for like if I were to ever make a deck, instead of selling it in a box, I would just sell the deck in like wrapped in a piece of fabric tied with string.
That would be
So you just
so cool.
so you
Yeah.
just like unwrap the deck and then there's just no box. You just like
Or like the deck just comes like only the deck. Like it would be like you know how like these like come in with the cellophane
yeah.
in the box? Like it would be like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Or
That
just
would be
no
crazy.
cellophane. You just throw a deck in like a manila envelope, just ship it in the mail.
No, exactly. Like the decks at the store are just like out on like the
Yeah,
shelf like this.
yeah, they're just out naked. It'd be cool.
Naked. Naked decks.
Yeah. All right, cool. So nice. I think that was a good interview. Do you
Oh,
guys
thank
have
you.
anything else you'd want to say to anyone who's watching?
This was great.
Not really.
I just really enjoyed this. This is sick. I think that,
Cool.
oh yeah, for anyone who's watching, more cardistry talks like this. The amount of inspiration that I get from like all of like the cardistry podcasts recently, just people just talking is like so cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love people hearing talk. I love hearing people talk about cards.
Yeah,
It's very enjoyable, and I love
Yeah.
talking about cards.
yeah.
Yeah. It's extremely, extremely enjoyable, both as a listener and a creator. So.